Good day, everyone. Safi here, Safi Financial Network, March 28, 2025, weekly edition. And that's going to be actually monthly edition as well, because we are kind of like finishing the month of March, ugly March for 2025. Let's look at S&P 500 monthly chart. So here is the monthly candle. You see that whenever we are getting above this trend line here, and market just reacting to this. Let me just bring my pen. So whenever we are getting to this upper side of this trend line, market cannot have like a blue off top and just going down very sharply. And in 2022, we just got into I should say nominal bear market. It is not a bear market. Obviously, we are seeing that we are in an uptrend, but we got into nominal bear market and we are getting back to the upside. And again, this March, we are getting back below this trend line, and maybe we kind of like going back down all the way to 5,300, which is going to be SMA 20 on a monthly basis. And we may see a bounce. But ultimately, even if we go down all the way to 40, that's the 4,900 area to 4,800, that's going to be 20%, even 22% to the downside. That would be kind of like the possible scenario for June, end of May, and we may get back to bullish momentum to the upside, potentially for 6,500, even above 6,700 for a blow off top. So if you just look at the market, and if you just call this one as like a COVID crash as an X, so this is going to be A or wave one, this is going to be two, this is going to be three, this is going to be four, and we are heading for another five. So we are in a four wave, or that's going to be just the last corrective move before the next very interesting parabolic move to the upside for potential, like a top for the market for multi-top for the decade. I mean, like for this decade, at least we're going to see the decade top, and 2026, 7, 8, 9, I would say market will heading into a secular bear market. So this is based on my cycles. We can talk about it later on, but right now I'm just looking for a 20% correction. This may see some kind of like, we may see some kind of like a bounce, but this bounce can end up to another potential double-digit correction this year for S&P 500, and that's going to be very, very possible scenario, even if this one doesn't happen tomorrow or next few weeks. Moving on to the weekly chart, let me just bring the chart, because weekly chart is very, very bad. So whenever we get below this SMA 60, this potentially tells us that we are kind of like heading for a very choppy, volatile market. So last time we got below SMA 60 on a weekly basis, you see that. So market just rejected, bounced back up. But when we establish itself above or below SMA 60, we are heading for a very choppy, volatile price action to form the bottom for a multi, I would say, months corrective phase. Right now, since February, we are starting this multi-month correction. Month of March obviously was a bearish, we just show it. So if market doesn't hold itself above 53, 5,200 and not recapturing SMA 60 and 50 at the same time for the weekly basis, then we are going to see potentially a volatile market to 5,100 to test this August low or even March low 2024, which is very, very, I would say, bad for lots of people, lots of investors, because market is getting to another double-digit correction after we just had a bounce last week. But that was just a short-term bounce last week, and we are heading down right now. As I said, 4,900 to 5,000. We will be in a bullish scenario for market. So that's going to be the trend line. So we are kind of like getting all of it even down to here. We are still looking for a more upside. But right now, I would say market is not in a good shape, at least for the weekly scenario. When you focus here, you see that the formation, you can't make any bullish case. I was bullish till yesterday, but today price action tells me that if I'm saying bullish, I would be wrong. I don't want to stay wrong. So I'm just saying market can go a downside. Still, I'm not looking for a crash or secular bear market. I'm looking for another potential upside move, even to new all-time high, but not few months. So it's going to be based on my cycle. If you haven't seen my forecast for 2025, We expected market to form the bottom at the end of the May or June. We may see a very, very nice decisive bottom. And that's going to be the period June to August. We may see the year low, and after that we can see market just snap back into the upside. So that's going to be the scenario. Moving on to the daily chart. Daily chart is telling us the same thing. Market just spooked to the downside. Look at that. So very, very sharp sell-off, huge volume. Like I haven't checked the volume, but I can check the volume right now. That is very, very large setup for the market for more downside. Right now, it is in 62 million SPY traded right now. It is high volume. It is not that extreme volume, but it is high. It is above 50 million, which is above the average. But if it goes to 100 or something, that would be kind of like a very, very sharp sell-off. And the market, one thing I can make a bullish case for next week, if miracle happens or something like that, we kind of like getting into overbought condition in a daily chart. I was expecting to get to 5,800, 5,825 to see how it's going to react, but sooner than this level, market just reacted going down. And if you go to weekly chart of stochastic momentum, we are kind of like at the bottoming phase. Look at this. So this is very, very nice. So next week, if we see a bull reversal, that would be a fantastic weekly bottom for the market. And also IMI already bottom. You see that IMI is kind of like a leading indicator. It's not lagging. If I want to show you here, so this is pretty interesting. We got bottom here in IMI, just 1 week below, or I should say 1 week before market bottom in 2023. All right. So this is very, very interesting. And also here as well. So we got bottom in IMI here. Look at that. Then we got another lower low, but that would be the bottom in October 2022. Even we got below this SMA SMA 60 on a weekly basis. So even I'm saying when IMI bottom, this means this is an early signal. We are close. It doesn't mean that we are getting back to the upside next week, and after that we can get back to the bullish momentum. It would be, but less likely. I would say less likely. I don't want to fool myself. I don't want to make myself clown. I'm saying based on the price action, it's going down, but IMI tells me that we are few weeks at least for a decent bounce, and that decent bounce can give us like another potential 10 to 15% upside for the market. Daily chart is the same thing. So if we get into like oversold condition next week, that would be dual back reversal, dual back bull reversal, and that would be very, very nice bottom information in daily and weekly chart. So if we go to Nasdaq is kind of like the situation is worse. If we go to weekly chart, we already below this SMA 60, and this is happening in 2022, and we got into a very, very bad period of time. So people are feeling the harm here, but it went all the way down here. I remember we bought a Meta. On that time, it was like a Facebook. It was going down below 100, and we allocate Meta a lot on that level. We sold on Meta like at this above 700, but that was kind of like a nice opportunity. So let's wait for another opportunity. The opportunity is coming, but you should have cash allocated on the side, or at least you should hedge yourself. Otherwise, you will be just toasted and roasted with a bloody portfolio. Moving on to the daily chart. Daily chart is telling us the same thing. So I'm kind of like expecting market is challenging this area. If market doesn't hold 18,900, which is this breaking through to the upside, that would be kind of like a sharp sell-off to these two boxes, which is going to be the August low boxes, and that's going to be 17,700 to even 17,200. That's going to be the potential scenario for Nasdaq. Even Dow Jones actually is the same scenario here. If you just look at the Dow is forming a lower low, lower high scenario in a daily chart. If we go to the weekly chart, weekly, we are getting into a very nice bottoming formation. So this is kind of like the scenario that I'm looking at, 41,000. That's the level. Still, we are above this SMA 60 on on a weekly basis, but that would be kind of like the bottoming process for the Dow. So still, we are kind of like a hopeful for this, because even if the other indexes go into the bear market, Dow still can hold. But if it doesn't, Dow can go all the way down to this area, which is gonna be a very nice bottoming formation if you just look at the trend line here. So this is the COVID bottom, this is 2022 bottom, this is 2023 bottom, and this is another kind of like the bottom for the Dow. So we may see some kind of like a test or touch, but after that we can get back to the upside. Not this sharp move, but we can see some kind of like a move to the upside. Even if we get kind of like a 15% correction, it doesn't mean that Dow is getting back to a bear market or secular bear market. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing from the bigger perspective, from the bigger chart. Don't focus on a daily chart and don't focus on the hourly chart, because the bigger picture still is bullish. I know the daily chart is ugly. So if you just look at this, you see that the lower high is forming. So this means we are getting into a bearish momentum to 40,000, even 40, or even 39,000 for this August low, September low here. But that would be kind of like the scenario as I show in the weekly chart. We may see bottom pretty soon. If it doesn't hold, we can go all the way down for a bigger picture, kind of like a bottoming formation for the Dow Jones. All right, folks, I don't want to just, let me just go to the gold as well. Gold hit new all-time high, just 1% up. Pretty nice move, 3,085, and gold can go all the way up to 3,200 to 3,300. That's my target for this year for gold, and that would be kind of like the top. It can't go higher. It can, but this is my foreseeable scenario for gold for this year. But the interesting thing is silver doesn't participate. Silver just show kind of like a resistance here around this 34, $35 per ounce. But if it breaking through above 35, I would say $44 for silver is coming. That's my goal, and I would say that's going to be very, very potential foreseeable scenario for gold, for silver as well. Moving on to the crude. Crude actually, despite of the market sell-off, crude doesn't show a very crazy sell-off. However, for a short term, in a daily chart, we saw that the stochastic momentum is showing bear reversal. Also, price action is showing us here is the dragonfly doji, and also this confirmation. This may give us another potential downside move. Potentially, we are going to test this area, and that's going to be very, very bad for crude. If we test this area, this means we are not getting to the higher high, higher low. We are getting to the lower high, lower low, and potentially we are going to breaking through this 65. If we get below this 65, 51 to 53, that's my downside target for crude, and that could happen. And that could kind of like initiate the stock market, another sell-off for the stock market, just because crude, remember in 2020, before a stock market went to crash or kind of like capitulation, crude went down 4 or 5 months before that. So we'll see how it goes. Moving on to the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just crashing to the downside 4%, and Bitcoin is getting ready for 72,000, potentially 65,000. Ethereum is down as well, 6% to the downside. So as I said, Ethereum, as long as it is below this 25 to 2,900, Ethereum, we can't make a bullish case. Bond yield just crashing 2% to the downside. Bond yield can go to 3.79. Also, Treasury just nicely back up. So you see that here's the bull flag, a big bull flag, and Treasury can lead to 100 level again. So that would be kind of like the scenario that I'm looking at for Treasury. VIX at the same time, just that 15% up, close weekly above 20, which is very kind of like a volatile for the market, and it brings more volatility for the market. Market can go, I mean, like a stock market can go downside. When VIX is above 20, that means the panic is still here, and the market can go to the downside. And Dixie, just the dollar is getting down, so money is flowing out of the dollar. This means we are kind of like a market feel recession. So these indicators are telling us market feels recession. I'm not sure if recession happens this year, but next year, as I said, 2026 all the way to 2029, even 2030. Those years are going to be very ugly, folks. If you feel pain on this market, you're going to just be ready. This is just nothing for next 4 years. All right, folks. For the individual names, I'm going to just prepare another video. You will see that on Saturday. Have a fantastic evening. See you on the chart. Bye-bye.